So this is how it starts. See there's a little bit growing out of the gutter. And if we look up at the chimney, that's coming on quite nicely, isn't it? Look at all that. Now that's still at a stage where you can do something about that and get rid of it. But this isn't a one-off, because just over the road, look, this chimney's got a fine growth beginning to appear. And then if we just move just a couple of houses down the street, there we are, look at that. Now all of this could be dealt with quite easily and quickly. I accept that you'd have to get a ladder out, but how long would it actually take to get rid of it? A couple of minutes? And then there's this one, which is actually in a pair of flats. Although the property looks derelict, it's actually not. It's just the angle I'm taking the video from. And it's inhabited. From other angles, it's actually a nice pair of flats, but it just happens to have this bit where there was an old window, which is obviously being filled in. And look at the growth. But nothing compares with what I'm about to show you. I don't know whether you can see this, but across that garden there's like an old industrial unit. It's a storage unit or a mechanic's workshop, car repair workshop, something like that. And it's obviously quite old, and there's a few bits and pieces which are wrong with it. If I zoom in a bit, you can see that the gutters are coming down. The pointing's not looking great. And look at that for a crack. That is quite a crack, isn't it? That is a worry. That is a worry. They do say that if you can sort of get your fist through the crack, then it probably is a problem that needs sorting, and that's definitely there. But the question is, why is it like that? Well, I don't know if you can see this. So you see those bushes there, that sort of tree type thing, which looks like it's sort of growing up alongside the wall. Well, if I zoom in, you'll see that they're actually growing out of the wall, which is pretty incredible, isn't it? You think, well, how long has it taken for those to actually seed and to then grow? And they've been left there. And I suppose the problem is that whoever actually owns this unit, they can't see that, because I don't know if you can see there from the fences, but there's actually another garden which is right up against that wall. And so it's probably been quite difficult for whoever owns this unit to actually see that there's what's pretty much a tree growing out of their side wall. Now, having said that, there must be some vantage point where they could see it, or maybe their neighbours have told them about it in years gone by. But clearly, even if they did know about it, they've left it. And that is, in part, I would think, part of the problem causing this crack, because you can see that that brickwork, the line of the brickwork there, has been disrupted all the way along. You can see here, actually, that there's obviously been something else growing out of the wall. Rather than taking it all away, they've just pruned it and killed it, but it's still grown enough to disrupt the brickwork there. All in all, it's a very sad building, isn't it? And I would think that that wall is actually not very clever. If I was the owner of the property next door with that garden, I think I'd be quite concerned that that wall could well come down at some point. The thing which really frustrates me about this sort of thing, though, is that it's really so unnecessary. But it seems that quite often you'll get some kind of plant life growing out of brickwork or in a gutter. You'll see it in chimneys, and yet very often it's just left. It's left to grow and grow and grow. If it was dealt with in the first instance straight off, everything would be fine, no problem. But just by leaving it for a year or two, the results can be horrendous. I mean, clearly this has been left for more than a year or two. But if you see some growth coming out of a chimney, for example, and you go back a couple of years later, the damage it can cause in that time can be quite horrendous. And it's so unnecessary. All that needs to be done is it's literally nipped in the bud. That's a really good phrase for it, isn't it? Just nip it in the bud. Anyway, I just thought that was quite interesting. It just shows how problems can compound and how one problem can end up causing several problems. If you want to know more about how to spot defects in properties, and if you'd like to learn my step-by-step system for inspecting properties to make sure that I don't miss anything when I'm going around a property, then please go to my website, thepropertyteacher.co.uk, click on Learning with Peter, click on eBooks with Peter, and you'll find 63 common defects in investment properties and how to spot them. It won't make you into a surveyor, but if you're not too sure or confident about what to look for when you're going around a property, this will certainly help.